Welcome to Sound Innovations for Strings. We're so glad you're watching this DVD. It's filled with very important information which will help you become a better player during the year. We are the authors of your book. I'm Bob Phillips.
I'm Peter Boonshaft.
And I'm Robert Sheldon.
As you continue to watch the DVD, you'll see and hear expert teachers explain many things about your instrument. Along with your teacher, the DVD will help you learn how to hold and play your instrument, and will guide you through the entire book. It also includes advanced skills and a performance of the solo you'll find at the end of your book.
We suggest you invite your parents to watch the DVD with you. They can help you understand some of the concepts that are presented. Additionally, it's a good idea to have your instrument out so that you can play along with the DVD.
We wish you all the best as you learn to play your instrument this year, and we hope that you have as much fun playing music as we do.
Hello, I'm Dr. Scott Conklin, and I teach violin at the University of Iowa School of Music. And the violin is a fantastic instrument because it very closely resembles the human voice and is very singing in its style. I look forward to working with you and helping you towards your goal of becoming a violinist. Before we learn how to play the violin, we must learn how to open our case and get our instrument out. I have my case right here on a very flat surface, and I want to make sure that it's very, very safe because the instrument, the violin and the bow, are both very, very delicate. And so I'm making sure that this is secure so where my case will not tip over. This particular case has some zippers, and so I'm very careful as I unzip this case. And I have some latches here as I open this up. And as I remove this right here, I have my violin. And I want to be very, very careful with it as I take it out. Now that I've taken my violin out of the case, I need to apply my shoulder rest. Some people play with shoulder rests, and some people play with sponges. Some people do not play with anything at all. But as for me, I do play with a shoulder rest, and I have it in my case. And my shoulder rest is in this pouch right here. And here is my shoulder rest. This particular shoulder rest has feet right here. And I put one pair of feet on at a time, and I'm very careful in doing so. And here's my violin and shoulder rest, and I'm ready to go. Now that I have my violin completely ready to go, I want to take out my bow. But before I do, I have to make sure that my violin is very safe and that I have two hands to be able to get my bow out very carefully. So I'm going to set my violin back down in the case, and then I get out my bow. And here is my bow. Now, right now, my bow is very loose between the stick and the hair. And I must tighten my bow. And if you look at this right here, this is the screw of the bow. And for me to tighten my bow, I have to imagine that my screw is like a clock. This being 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. And that I need to turn in that direction. And as I do, it tightens the hairs of the bow. And you can see that the distance between the stick and the hair is further apart than where we started. I generally like to make sure that the width of my hair and bow stick are at least a pencil width apart. And that is how you get the bow out of the case and tighten your bow. Now that my bow is out and I've tightened my adjusting screw, I'm ready to rosin my bow. And rosin is an important ingredient to making the horsehair stick to the string of the bow. It helps us to produce a nice sound. And I have my rosin in my pouch right here in my case. And when I rosin my bow, I want to make sure that I get rosin on every part of my bow hair. Make sure that I get this on every aspect of the bow. Now that we have finished playing, we must put our violin away and put it back in the case where it came from. And in doing so, I want to make sure my violin is very safe and secure. And I'm just going to loosen the adjusting screw of my bow, moving it back in time like the clock face, 3 to 12. Notice it's very loose. And I very carefully put the tip in the case and then the frog. And I'm very gentle with my instrument. And I have to take off my shoulder rest. And I put it back in the pouch where it came from. Now, one thing I would recommend that you do, if your case has room for it, is to have a little cloth to clean your instrument. And I like to wipe away some of the rosin and some of the rosin dust underneath to make sure my violin is very clean and shiny, as I experienced when I opened the case. And so it's ready to go for the next time I play. And again, I'm very gentle and safe in putting this back. And I cover it. And you have to make sure that every buckle and snap is fastened. And I am ready to go. And I've packed my violin. Rest position is kind of like holding a guitar. And then you put your arm over the chin rest like this. And this is rest position. To get into playing position, I have to make sure that I do something with my feet. And I recommend that you put your feet together and then think about fanning your feet out. And then take a step out with your left foot. So my feet have set me up. My foundation is ready to go. Now we're going to take the violin from rest position to playing position. And I'm going to bring the violin down so where it's resting on my shoulder, which is a mass that is supporting my violin from underneath. And I'm facing you right now, and my nose is pointing directly to you. But I must turn my head so where my jaw and my chin meet the chin rest. And I'm going to naturally let my head weight sink into my chin rest. Now, if you look very closely, I have my violin in rest position, and I do have my chair behind me, and it is very important to make sure that you actually land in your chair as you are sitting. It is important to make sure that your spine or posture is lengthened and tall. And I'm also on the edge of my seat, not leaning back in my chair. Now my violin is currently in rest position, and we're going to take it into playing position as we did standing. And we are ready to play. I'm currently in rest position, but to take my instrument to guitar position, I have to make sure that my left hand is supporting the neck and that my right arm is free to pizzicato or pluck the string. Next, we are going to learn the strings of the violin. Now, my violin is currently in guitar position, and I'm going to show you these strings by using pizzicato or plucking the strings. Before I do, I must anchor my index finger on the underside of the fingerboard, and I pluck with my thumb. And the string that is closest to my nose is the G string. The next string is the D string, followed by the A string, and lastly, the E string. Now I'm going to take the violin up into playing position, and I'm going to show you these strings from a different angle. I must anchor my thumb on the corner of the fingerboard, and I extend my index finger, and I use it to pizzicato and pluck the string. And we'll start with the G string, followed by the D string, the A string, and the E string. I'm going to show you these strings with the bow, and here is the G string. Here's the D string. The A string, and the E string. And those are the strings of the violin. These are the fingers of the left hand that we use to play the violin. This is the first finger, the second finger, the third finger, and the fourth finger. I would like for you to take a moment to salute me, because I salute you. And I would like for you to take your saluting hand and bring it to the neck of the violin. And I would like for you to take the base of the index finger, or the first finger, to the neck, like so. And I'll show it to you from another angle. This is important because we want the fingers to be like squares or boxes when we put them down. If you look closely, you see that my thumb is on the opposite side of the neck, and my thumb is supremely relaxed. It's like a feather touching the neck. It is very, very light. It's just hanging out and relaxing. I would also like for you to take a look here that I have a peephole in my hand. And also my wrist is straight. It's very easy to want to mash the neck, but to be able to play the violin very well, and for us to strive to be the very best violinist we can be, we want to make sure that this line is maintained and that we keep that there. When I play the fingers of my left hand, I play them with just enough weight to produce the sound that I would like to create without any kind of tension. just enough weight to make it happen. Now I'm going to show you these details in playing position. Again, notice the base of the index finger. My thumb very, very lightly touching the other side of the neck. This peephole is maintained, and my wrist creates a line. And that is the setup of the left hand. Here are the notes on the D string. The open D. E, F sharp, and G. And we'll take it down. G, F sharp, E, and the open D. I'm going to show this to you in a different angle. The open D, E, F sharp, G, G, F sharp, E, and open D. Here are the notes of the D string with the bow. The open D, E, F sharp, G, G, F sharp, E, and D. Here's another angle. D, E, F sharp, G, G, F sharp, E, and D. And those are the notes of the D string. Here are the notes of the A string. Open A, B, C sharp, D, D, C sharp, B, and open A. Here's another angle. A, B, C sharp, D, D, C sharp, B, and A. Here are the notes of the A string using the bow. The open A, B, C sharp, and D, D, C sharp, B, and the open A. Here's another angle. A, B, C sharp, D, D, C sharp, B, and the open A. And those are the notes of the A string. Here are the notes of the G string. Open G, A, B, and C. C, B, A, and G. Here's another angle. G, A, B, C, C, B, A, and open G. Here are the notes of the G string using the bow. The open G, A, B, and C. C, B, A, and the open G. Here's another angle. G, A, B, C, C, B, A, and the open G. And those are the notes of the G string. Here are the notes of the E string. The open E, F sharp, G, A, B, B, A, G, F sharp, and open E. Here's another angle. E, F sharp, G, A, B, B, A, G, F sharp, open E. Here are the notes of the E string using the bow. The open E, F sharp, G, A, B, B, A, G, F sharp, and the open E. Here's another angle. E, F sharp, G, A, B, B, A, G, F sharp, and the open E. And those are the notes of the E string. Now we are going to learn F natural on the D string. We start with an open D, followed by an E, and the F natural is located just above the first finger. It is a half step away from the E. Those fingers touch. It is ant-proof. An ant is unable to get through there. The note that you learned before was the F sharp. And if we remember, it's a high 2. And that F sharp touches the G. That too is a half step. And those fingers touch. Let me just take a moment to play the F sharp and the F natural. The F sharp is a high 2. The F natural is a low 2. F sharp, F natural. High 2, low 2. Let's see it from a different angle. F natural, F sharp, F natural, F sharp. Now we are going to play an F natural with the bow. Now let's play an F sharp, F natural, F sharp. And here it is from another angle. F natural, F sharp, F natural, F sharp. Now we are going to locate a C natural on the A string. It is very similar to what you just learned on the D string, trying to find the F natural. Here's the open A, B, and the C natural is 1/2 step higher than the B. You learned the C sharp a while ago, and that C sharp is a high 2, which touches the D. Now I'm going to play for you a C sharp and a C natural. Here's the C sharp, a high 2, and the C natural, a low 2. C sharp, C natural, high 2, low 2. Let me show you from another angle. C natural, C sharp, C natural, C sharp. Now we are going to find the C natural with the bow. C natural. Let's play a C sharp, C natural, C sharp. And let's take a look at it from another angle. C natural, C sharp, C natural, C sharp. Now we are going to learn a new fingering for A, the open A. Except we're going to find it on the D string with the 4th finger. So, let's play an open D, E, F sharp, G, and the 4th finger A. It is important to make sure that your finger is curved and that you have a nice finger tunnel for your open A. Otherwise it makes a silly sound. So a nice finger tunnel, and that is A with the 4th finger. Let's look from another angle. The 4th finger A. Here's the 4th finger A with the bow. Let's check and see if it matches our A. Now we'll check it from another angle. The 4th finger A. check it with the open A. Now we're going to find another fingering for D, or open D, except with a fourth finger on the G string. Let's start with an open G. A, B, C, and the fourth finger D, making sure that we have the finger tunnel as we've previously talked about. Let's find it using a different angle. The fourth finger D. Here's the fourth finger D with the bow. Let's check it with the open D. Here it is from another angle. Fourth finger D. Let's check in with the open D. Now we are going to learn a new fingering for E, or the open E. Except we're going to play this with a fourth finger on the A string. It's very similar to what we did with the A, or open A, and we found a fourth finger A on the D string. So let's pluck an open A. B, C sharp, D, and fourth finger E, making sure that our finger tunnel is absolutely clear. We're going to find it in a different angle right now. The fourth finger E. Here is the fourth finger E with the bow. And I'm going to check it with my open E. Here's another angle. Fourth finger E. With the open E. Now we are going to learn how to set up the bow hand. But first I need for you to grab a pencil. Now we're going to refer to this pencil as the bow stick. And the sequence of events begins with the thumb. I would like for you to apply this thumb underneath the bow stick or pencil, but make sure that your thumb is bent. Also notice the placement of my thumb. If you look very closely, I have it in the corner, and that is where I place it on the underside of this pencil. The next digit is the middle finger, which I wrap over the bow stick at the first joint. This is followed by the ring finger, also wrapping around the bow stick at the first joint. Now if you look at it closely, it kind of looks like a bunny rabbit, and I'll show it to you from a couple of different angles. And notice the placement of my thumb. It is definitely behind my middle finger and in between my middle and ring fingers, which gives me a nice balance in my bow hand. The next digit is the index finger, and I place this in between my first and second joint, like so. And lastly, we apply the pinky. And this pinky must be beautifully curled and curved. And I make sure that my pinky nail is on the bow stick. And you may want to try tapping your pinky nail. Can you hear the click? My pinky nail's rather short. The last detail, now that we have these fingers applied, we need to make sure that we lean our hand towards the tip. And we do it like so. And this, if we present it, is what our bow hand should look like. Now we are going to apply the bow hand to the bow. I would like for you to hold your bow in your right hand. Notice where I'm holding it. And as I hold the bow with my left hand, notice that I am not touching the horsehair because there are oils in our fingers which can make our bow very slick, and we want to keep the rosin and the hair in fine condition for playing. And as we look at this bow, you can see that this is the tip and this is the frog. And you remember the adjusting screw because we spoke of it earlier. Now we're going to go through the sequence of events with the right hand. And it starts with the bent thumb. And we talked about that bent thumb in the corner of this digit. And I'm going to apply it in the corner where my frog and stick meet. I also have this leather wrap right here. All of these things are very close together, but I am going to find the corner of these particular places in my bow and put my thumb right there, right in the corner of the frog and the bow stick. Then we wrap the middle finger at the first joint, followed by the ring finger, wrapping the bow stick at the first joint. Then we put our index finger on the bow stick in between the first and second joint. And I apply the pinky that is very curved. And my nail is on top of the bow stick, which you can click here. Notice the daylight between my fingers too. And lastly, we lean our hand towards the tip. And I would like for you to present it. And as we hold it up and down vertically, it's so light. It's just like a feather. This bow hand and my fingers feel like they're springs, that every joint feels incredibly loose and very relaxed. Let me show you the parts of the bow. This right here is the lower half. Here is the middle, and here is the upper half. Very simple. The tip, as we discussed earlier, and the frog. Let me show you in playing position. Here is the frog, the lower half. Here's the middle. Here is the upper half and the tip. Now we are going to make a sound and move the bow. The first thing I want to think about is my sounding point. If I want a strong sound, if I'm closer to the bridge, that will help me. If I want a softer sound, I move towards the fingerboard. But let's make a really nice, healthy sound. With this sounding point in mind near the bridge, I'm going to place my bow at the frog. And when I do, I'm thinking about my shoulder hanging and my elbow having sufficient arm weight, which is necessary when we produce the sound. To draw the bow, to move the bow, it is important that we open and close from the inside of our elbow, and it is like a door. It opens and closes. And so we move the bow from the inside of the elbow, generating or making bow speed. And that's a down bow. And then we move up bow and we close the inside of our elbow, like closing the door. It is very important to remember this rule. You must always strive to make a perfect T with your strings and the bow stick. It is very easy to want to make an X with the bow. It is also very easy to want to make the bow look like a windshield wiper with the strings. And you see that my bow slides and it looks like I'm peeling carrots. But the rule is that to always have a perfect T when you play. Let's talk about bowing lanes or sounding points. If I would like to make a forte dynamic happen, I will choose a bowing lane or a sounding point closer to my bridge. If I want a medium dynamic or mezzo forte, I move it this way and I choose a bowing lane in the middle. And if I want a soft dynamic, a piano, I will move my bowing lane or sounding point towards the fingerboard, like this. And if you explore those bowing lanes, it will help you to make all of the dynamics in your music come to life. I'm going to play all of the strings for you, and I'm going to show you the levels of the bow. But first, let me show you these levels of the bow. Now, I am on the G string right now, and as I go to the D string, my elbow just sort of hangs and falls onto the D string level. It's like the flap on an airplane wing. It just falls over just like that. Now we're going to move from the D string to the A string, and notice my elbow. It falls or rocks over, and to the E string. Now, as I go back, my elbow rises, and notice my bow levels rising, going to the D string, and then to the G string. Let me play the strings for you. Let me show you a string crossing. I'm going to play on the D string, and then I'm going to play on the A string. And I'll show you how to cross back and forth between the two. Now I start with my D string, and of course, there's my A string. When you have notes on two strings like the D and the A string, and they happen really close together, I always try and think about my elbow being in between the strings that I'm crossing. So, watch me play. Let me show you some different bow speeds. Here is a slow bow speed. Here is a medium bow speed. And here is a fast bow speed. There are many different articulations that you can make happen with your bow. And there are many different ways to group notes together. And I'm going to show you two in particular. I'm going to show you slurs and hooks. Now, I'm just randomly going to pick out some notes, and I'm just going to play a D, an open D, and a first finger E. And I'm going to show you a slur. These two notes are going to be connected very smoothly on one bow. Here's a slur. Now I'm going to show you what a hook is. It's very similar to a slur, but the difference is a tiny stop in between those two notes. I'm going to play again an open D and an E, and I'm going to put a tiny stop in between those notes, and they're going to be on one bow. Here is an example of a hook. And those are examples of slurs and hooks. Next, we will talk about crescendo and decrescendo. A crescendo starts at a softer dynamic level and raises the volume to a stronger level. And a decrescendo takes us from a stronger dynamic and brings us down into a softer dynamic. And I'm going to show you a crescendo on a down bow and an up bow. Now I'm going to show you a decrescendo on a down bow and an up bow. And now the Gavotte by Corelli. It has been both an honor and a privilege to be a part of your start towards becoming a violinist and a musician. I am very lucky and blessed to be a musician, a violinist, and a teacher. And I really love what I do, and I consider myself extremely lucky to be able to do this for my life. and to do this for a living. Music is a really powerful language. It is the universal language, and it is something that everyone can understand and relate to if one puts their heart and soul into their performance and into their music. When you play the pieces in your book, and if you play any piece in the future, I want you to always take great care in looking at all the details and all the words and markings that the composer put into the music. It's very important to know all of that and bring all of those details out, to bring that composer's voice to life and to show the feelings and the emotions that that composer had while writing that work. As you perform any piece, I hope you can remember that you have the power to play a piece of music with a specialness and a uniqueness that is all your own. It's your own special touch, your own feeling, something that only you can bring to a piece of music. The most amazing thing that anybody could tell you about a performance of your music making is that it really moved them and that it moved their heart. So I ask for you to always scan the music with your heart and make sure that every note has a meaning and a purpose. Put your heart and soul into it and care for all of the details in every note and every music that you play, always.